Well, we have seen the flooding concerns around parts of Texas today. Heavy rains creating an obstacle for drivers in Houston, and areas along the San Jacinto River led to some people having to evacuate their homes. It was that extreme in those cases. Texas has also been on the other side of extreme with severe droughts as well, and those hot summers often come with watering restrictions. Our media partners over at Texas Monthly have noticed water use across the state is spiking again. Tonight we're sitting down with Forrest Wilder to take a deeper dive into this topic. Forrest, thanks for joining us here. Talk a little bit about this change in water use across the state and in parts of North Texas. What are you all seeing as far as the consumption?
Yeah, so I guess the first thing to say is Texas, we've made huge strides in water conservation in the last, couple decades. The amount of water that people use in their household has come way down. But what's happened in recent years is that it started to kind of tick back up in a lot of places. Part of that is just because we've had such hot, dry summers of late. But the other part of it is that a lot of new homes are being built with large green lawns that are equipped with automatic sprinkler systems. And those use a lot of water. Most cities, that's the majority of residential uses coming from irrigation, and typically that's connected to green lawns. And then the other part of it is we have a lot of new people coming to the state, many of whom expect to have lush lawns, and they may not quite realize that much of Texas is a desert or near a desert, and certainly almost all the state is water scarce.
How do home developers, Forrest, and HOAs, how do they come into play on this issue?
Well, a lot of new developments are basically catering still to the green lawn. I think a lot of developers believe that that's what folks want, and it just as a sort of as a standard amenity now, a lot of homes come with automatic sprinkler systems. That used not to be the case. That's just become a bell and whistle that is sold with the home. HOAs often have rules that require you essentially to have a green lawn, to have turf. I've talked to a number of people, including folks in North Texas, that want to xeriscape, want to use native landscaping, and the problem they run into is the HOA essentially says you can't do that.
Yeah. Well, as you put it in your article, Texas has a law for irrigation installers to encourage conservation. Can you talk a little bit about the gap in this law and how cities are trying to cut down on water usage?
Right. So if you buy a new home, typically you're not going to, as a first-time home buyer of that new home, you're not going to meet with the irrigation installer. And so that means a lot of people are getting these systems. They don't know how to use them. They don't know how to use them efficiently. And so they're overwatering, or there's problems with the system. Maybe they weren't properly installed, and they're not realizing that's an issue until maybe they get a huge water bill. So it's costing them money. It's also costing the communities, just a loss of this resource. So a lot of cities are trying to figure out, how can maybe we get more involved to make sure that the homeowners understand how these systems operate, and also to require more efficient systems to be installed. Frisco, for example, already has a pretty stringent irrigation ordinance that addresses some of these questions, and other cities are looking at doing that and more.
Yeah, all right. Well, our thanks to Forrest Wilder for joining us tonight and talking a little bit more about this issue. And of course, you can read his entire article. It's right now available for you over on TexasMonthly.com. We'll be right back.